Presentation. There we go. So here we go. All right. So welcome everyone. Our presentation today, I call it Let's Go Digital Asset Mining. Digital asset mining. What's that all about? Well, it's digital. This is new stuff, right? This is assets, things of value that are digital. They're not something you can technically hold. Mining would be sort of the creation, the genesis of it. So we have a situation where we have the opportunity to create these assets. We're going to make them, we're going to create them. This is our presentation just to timestamp it. Today is the 13th of December. The site, if you want more info, digitalassetmining.net. That's our clearinghouse for this. So here's our disclaimer. Number one, this is educational information. It is not, N-O-T, not financial advice. Okay. Every business involves some risk. Every business involves some risk. Know your risk tolerance. Don't, never, ever, do not invest funds you can't afford to lose. No results are ever guaranteed. Okay. So you got to do your own research, your own due diligence. This is an educational presentation, as I mentioned. Okay. Uh, whoa. Also, this is not an official company presentation. Okay. This is something I'm doing. It's my slant on it. This is for team support. It's not legal advice, 100% not legal advice, not financial advice. I'm not qualified to do either. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a lawyer. I don't work for Texit, the company you're going to hear a lot about in the next 20 minutes or so. And this is not the official Opportunity Zoom. So there's all your fun disclaimers. Okay. So the star of our show today is a company called Texit, Texit. It's a layer one blockchain project based in Texas, in the United States, 100% domestic here in the US. Okay. Now, what they basically do, their goal, they have a single goal, is to create a mine, a digital asset mine. They want to make one of the largest ones in the world to produce tokens on their blockchain. Okay. And they've had some milestones. This is actually a little bit dated because they're up to 55,000. They hit 50,000 members about a month ago. Okay. They're doing millions of dollars a week just in commissions. Okay. They got this little kind of their own disclaimer here saying, hey, we're sorry, we're actually doing what we promised we would do. Okay. Unfortunately, there's a lot of companies out there that say they're going to do this, and this. They don't do any of them. So they're actually ahead of the curve in a lot of things they've been trying to accomplish. I'm going to talk about that in a second. So the star of the show is Texit. The story, the real story, if you're a business person and you're looking for something, okay, is stable daily passive revenue. Okay, stable daily passive revenue. That's the golden goose. Everybody wants to not do anything, but still earn, right? The only way you're going to do this, you have assets working for you. Passive revenue, passive income. Okay. That's what we got. That's what digital asset mining can afford you. So their business model is very clean. You got a single one-time cost. Okay. This is not something where every month you're paying, every week you're paying, every year you're paying fees. Da, da, da. No, one-time cost. That gets you into digital asset mining as a miner, as a member, long-term, permanent, 130 years daily passive rewards. Okay, this is basically the concept. Now, so what is Texit? Texit is the brainchild of its founder. Okay, this is the founder. There's a picture of him named Bobby Gray. He lives in Texas, a town called McKinney, Texas. He spent about 15, 20 years in the alternative currency space. Okay, all sorts of ideas, bartering, digital tokens, Bitcoin, the whole thing. Actually testified before Congress about these alternative currencies. He's built businesses in gold and silver minting of coins, sold them, went all in crypto a couple of years ago. And he saw there was a fundamental issue. A lot of the first generation cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin, which is clearly the most famous and largest one, had flaws. As they ran for many years, things came out that could be improved upon. And that was his goal. He founded this company to kind of make a better version of what was out there. And you'll hear it a lot in this community is this commitment to honest money. Okay. So this is just a snapshot of where the company's at. They about a year, 15 months old, really haven't been cranking. More like 11. They really started rolling this out in February. You can see the growth in this first, whoa, sorry. In the in the first one. Let me go back, sorry. Uh Big growth, especially in this third and fourth quarters of this year. I joined in the first quarter of this year. There were under 2,000 miners. Okay. Now they're almost 60, 55,000 and change. $140 million company this year that'll probably get close to 160 by the end of the year. Okay. So they're growing. They're doing what they're intending to do. So here's the key. This is what you really need to understand if you're first time here or 10th time here. This is a mining program first and foremost. One-time cost, I'm going to say the same things repetitively because it's the key. One-time cost, you can own a share of this collective crowd-funded mine. Okay. Every miner, every day, gets a share of the output of the mine. The mine's got one job, basically, to produce tokens. Token is called TXC, Tango X-Ray Charlie. Okay. Every day it puts out a bunch of tokens, and the tokens get shared among all the mining shareholders. Tokens have value. It goes up, it goes down. Right now, it is rebounding. It took a little bit of a hit in the last couple of weeks. Okay. It did. That's just how it works. There's a lot of forces that affect the market. This right now isn't about talking about why or why not. I can get into that maybe later. But the point is, even with it doing that, it goes up and down. It rebounds. It's up about 25% the last couple of days. Anyway, every day you get in, you get your share. Every day you get an allotment of tokens that has value. That is what the program basically is. Okay. Now, again, business model, one-time cost. So some of you are here for the first time, you're thinking, what's going on here? Well, this is it. It's a one-time cost to get a share of the mine. You can buy as many or as few as you want up to a point. The most you can have is 9. I'll get into that more later. But I keep emphasizing this one-time cost because it's the beauty of it. There's no hosting fees. You don't have to pay somebody to make sure that your blockchain nodes are working. There's no monthly fees. There's no fees if you want to become an affiliate and share the idea. No annual fees, nothing. No, nothing. That's it. No fees. Now, what's that get us? Right now, I'm just going to tell you, till the 19th of December, they got a holiday promotion. Okay. This is the best deal they've had all year in terms of value. Okay. If you get 3 mining positions, you're going to get a fourth one for free. Or said another way, you're going to get 4 for the cost of 3. Pretty simple. It's going on about another week. This has been very successful, at least in my little universe. I've shown a bunch of people this. A lot of people have taken advantage of it. So here's the goal. Once again, we have a business model with a one-time cost. You can get a promo now, save yourself some cash, and that translates into the daily stable passive revenue. Now, people say, well, yeah, it's all well and good if I get tokens. What if I can't sell them? What if they're not liquid? 100% liquid. They're in 10 exchanges right now. They're opening up an 11th one. In fact, one of the reasons why there's volatility in price is because of that access, because of that liquidity. You don't want to get into a project where you got a bunch of stuff and you can't sell it. It's all paper, but there's no liquidity. We get our tokens, let's say roughly 8 p.m. every night, Eastern time. You get them, you could transact them, sell them if you wanted 801. Okay, just have to know how to do it. So there's the cycle. You get a position, you get allotment of tokens every day. You can either house them, stockpile them, or you can sell them. Okay, so this is the metaphorical question. Do you want to own the mint that produces the money? So every day you're getting a piece of it. You want to have a toll booth where you're collecting every time a car goes by? Or do you want to own the production that it makes? So I'd rather have the toll booth. I'd rather have the mint. So every time a coin gets minted, get a little piece. Ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. You got the toll booth on the highway every time a car goes by. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Daily. This is why I can say with confidence there's a stable daily passive income. which is really what most people are wanting. I say most, I say all. All right. Now, little business overview. Okay. The left side, the company right now is in phase one. As far as they are along, $150 million company this year. Okay. They're still young. They're still pretty young into the system. So there are five parameters this company talks about. And by the way, and I've been in several things, this is the most transparent company I've ever seen in terms of clarity of information, dissemination of information. And not just like, yeah, we're doing well, or not just, hey, we had a good week. I mean, they break down numbers to a degree that's pretty amazing, and on their Tuesday and Thursday Zooms. Anyway, this is what they talk about. This is the metrics. This is how we know we're getting where we want to get. Okay. The total size of the mine, they're about 22% done building this mine right now. And or you could look at it the other way and say they're more than 75% not done. Translation, big opportunity still. The goal is to have 100 million mega hash. Mega hash is a fancy way of saying how fast the mine runs. Okay. This will be, again, one of the largest mines, not just in the United States, but in the world. Right now, they're a little bit under 22. They figure eventually they're going to have about a quarter million miners. They're roughly 22% there, same, 56,000 out of 25, 250,000. Okay. The bigger the mine, the more tokens it produces. Okay, that's the third line. Liquidity pool. I was saying this before. Doesn't help you if you have tokens if you can't sell them. That's what liquidity is. We could do a whole hour just on that. But they're building up liquidity to reach a goal. Okay, they're looking at a token target price right now about $16 by the spring. Right now they're two and change. It's peaked as high as almost seven. Okay, they got other things. After phase one's done, they're moving into other phases, phase two, phase three, and these are their target goals. Now, again, nothing's guaranteed here, but these are target goals based on a plan. You hear a lot when you come to these meetings with the company about the plan. What's our plan? What are we doing? How are we getting done? Where are we with our plan? All right. Now, here's a question. Why would you buy a mine versus just buying tokens? Okay. And I can tell you, and I can do this one-on-one. I've done this in other forums, not going to do it today. 100% of the time, 100% of the time, the math of investing in the mine and getting the daily rewards outpaces buying tokens and trying to buy them low, sell high. Okay. It's just a better deal, unquestionably longer term. Maybe not over a 2 day window or a 4 day window, but certainly long term. When you own the mine, you're getting tokens 132 years. That's the same as a Bitcoin mine. Problem is you can't get the Bitcoin mining it that way because it's controlled by enormous mine holders. So again, mining, one-time cost, long-term benefit. Buying, you get a one-time cost, yeah, every time you buy, but it's price dependent. You can lose money. It can go down. It's market dependent. Okay. So I'm just telling you, I could show you on spreadsheets. I could show you the math. Mining outpaces buying tokens, especially if you position yourself at the right time. Okay. And here's an example. And this is even a little old. This slide's like a month old. This is Bitcoin's trace. Not that much different now. It rebounded a little bit. Everybody's so worried about every token going down. You know it's going to come back at some point. But look at the numbers. Up here, 120,000. It bottomed out at almost 70s. This one was at 95, down 14%. It lost a total of 35%. So if you were holding Bitcoin, you lost a big chunk. Now, it's come back. It's still below that number. Right now, today, it's, I think, 91. So tokens are going to fluctuate. They just do. Sometimes drastically. So I'm making a case, mining in some projects, this project for sure will outpace the tokens. And every day again, you get rewards. There's 4 days ago, 2 days ago, 2 days ago, 12 days ago, whatever, 12 hours ago. Okay. This is a long-term asset accumulation concept. You don't buy a mine to use it for 2 days and then move on. That's not how it works. Okay. So even if the market drops, you're still getting tokens every day. And then the same tokens, when the market picks up, if you want to look at it this way, are worth more. I joined, the token was 26 cents. Okay. So now it's been 20 times that. It's roughly 8 times that now. All right, here we go. If you want, and I'm not going to break this down probably more than just this slide. This is a community project. This is a crowdfunding project. Everybody contributes, everybody gets rewarded. Company can't do it 100% by themselves. So what they do is they have an affiliate program to help to build the community. And they reward members with a simple, basic idea. You share the idea, you show this to your friends, your associates, your business partners, so on and so on. You will get a reward. Okay. The rewards happen to be very lucrative. Again, this particular presentation, I'm not going to get too heavy into that side of the comp plan, but I can do that if anybody wants to hear about it one-on-one a little bit more. Now, if you want to learn more, if you want to learn more, okay, every Tuesday and every Thursday, there are presentations. There's really more than this. I'm just focusing on these. Tuesday, 7 o'clock, the company does a breakdown, goes through all the metrics I showed you in that slide, the 5 parameters of each phase, way more than that. And they tell it like it is. Again, I'm going to say this with a lot of confidence. I've never seen leadership meetings with the owner with the transparency is at this point. Right after that meeting, we do a meeting for our team. I call it Tech Tuesday. Same thing happens on Thursday. And then we have meetings like this on Saturday. Okay. Now, to keep the integrity of what we're doing, if somebody invited you here, go back, talk to them, see if they can answer any questions you have. Okay. Want to make sure they get, they get the proper credit for making the introduction. Let me just, once again, sort of repeat the disclaimer. It's not financial advice. It's educational. Okay. Don't invest, don't spend if you can't afford it. You can lose money possibly. Okay. In this case, you do have the equity position in the mine. You're getting the tokens. It's just a matter of those prices balancing out. Okay. And then I'm just going to show you an example of the transparency. This is just the sort of transcripting chapters of one of the recent meetings with the owner, okay, with the founder. This is the YouTube link to it if you want to get that. But look at the things they're covering. Why is this token different? He did a presentation for 350 people at a university talking about liquidity. You don't hear most companies talking about liquidity. They just don't. Talking about price, talking about their strategy for growth. Okay. Talking about, where it's going. Metcalfe's law is the idea is that tokens go higher, people tend to sell off, which in some ways reduces price. Selling pressure can reduce price. So there's this push-pull. Somebody gets in at, let's just say, $1, token goes up to $3. They tend to sell, hey, look, I'm happy with that gain. But that gain selling, especially in quantity, tends to push the price down, adding into the liquidity pool. Okay, and so on and so on. All right, this is just some promotion. This company is not shy. Okay, all kinds of stuff going on. They got billboards all over the South and the Southwest. I get people calling me sometime, hey, I'm driving on interstate, whatever. I just saw one of the Texit billboards. These pictures to the right are in airports, Dallas, Fort Worth, LAX, Miami, soon to be in Atlanta and Denver and a couple others. I think they're in 6 now. So they're spending money on marketing. No question. They got hot air balloons. This is their plan on the right to get the token to $16 by the spring. The path to doing it, the plan. This is actually how they're hosting and how I was going to say hosting, how they're housing the miners. They're in these flatbed things. They're physically situated. There are several of these located in Texas. Inside of that, you have banks. I'm not sure if I have a picture of it. I should get pictures of that. There's banks where the computers that do the mining are in liquid and oil that keeps them cool, makes them more efficient, makes them live longer. Shouldn't say live, function longer. Okay. And they have these in several locations all around the state. There's also what they call micro mines, which are small mines that members have actually in their houses that are running as well. So this is a decentralized mine. Like I said before, about 22% built on its way to 100 mega hash. That's basically what I got for today. There's more I could get into, and I will if there's questions about it. If you want to learn more, Connect with whoever invited you. This is my email on the screen. We can set up a one-on-one meeting. Happy to answer any questions. I personally, I think this is a great program. I've been in it since February, technically, but I really didn't start looking at it in any way beyond just maybe having a minor until April. I started sharing the idea, started talking to some people, brought it to our team, and the rest is history. We're close to 200 members on the team we have. Several of you are here today, which I appreciate. And this is the idea. So that's basically the end of the presentation. There's more I could talk about, but I want to keep these concise. I know nobody's really a fan of a 3-hour Zoom. Um, so I'm going to kind of draw a line here and say, if you were here just for the presentation, it is done. I'm going to move more into sort of a question and answer phase. If anybody does have questions, I'll sort of scan the chat and see if anything's in there. Um, and when the questions are done, or we hit about 145, we'll call this a day. So let me just see. Can you cover the recent drop in price? Yes. Yeah, the price dropped for a number of reasons. One, the whole crypto market is way down. Crypto market has lost trillions of dollars of market cap in the last 2 months. Bitcoin, Ethereum, you name it, Solana, XRP, they're all down. Why? Partly it's just sell off. People are taking profits. Partly it's just, time of year. People need money. It's holidays. That sometimes contributes to it as well. Sometimes it's fundamentals. When I first got into Texit, okay, people would complain or they'd say, I'm not joining that program because they're not on enough exchanges. They were always on at least one exchange, which was called Trade, which they're still on. But people would say, well, that's only one exchange. What if something happens to that exchange or the exchange pulls them off? Well, now they're on 11 exchanges. Well, because they're on 11 exchanges, there's way, way, way more access. It's easier to sell, it's easier to buy, but it also creates a lot more volatility. There are people out there, despite my opinion, that you're better off mining you are doing arbitrage on tokens, who are doing that. So people are buying them, let's just say at $2.20. They're selling them at 240. When a big, in big lots, that drives price up and down a little bit. But ultimately, to some degree, pricing should reflect value of the company and utility. And that's expanding as well. If you caught either of the company Zooms this week, three-quarters of it was about how they're using this in a direct sort of retail environment. That's their goal. The goal is that somebody could walk into a store and use Texit like they would use a credit card or merchant service or cash. And that is happening already in a lot of places in Texas, and the goal is for that to expand. Okay, just want to say, oh, thank you, Steve. Steve gave me a nice compliment. No, his company gave a compliment. It's about transparency. It's really true. I've done Zooms where I publicly come out and said about other companies, the communication's terrible. We're not hearing anything. We don't know what's going on. And sometimes people can't make the right decisions or make decisions they wish they had made differently because there's a lack of information. Whether you like this company or not, whether you like the idea or not, that's just not the case here, period. The communication is tremendous. The transparency is very high. Sometimes I think it's almost too much. But that's what they've chosen to do, and I think it's a really good thing. Um, so that's the idea there. Of course, you want to discover that for yourself. This is not a real world asset, okay? This is not a tokenization project. This is a digital asset mining project, okay? What if someone gets involved, what they are going to have is a share of the mine, a share of the mine, okay? You can buy one share, you can buy up to 9 shares. That's it. They have what they call the anti-whale rule, okay? Nobody can own 500 shares, okay? You just can't. Why? Because they don't want any individual or any institution or any thing to be able to move the market because they have so many mines, they get so many tokens, and they can sway the market that way. A real world asset tokenization would have some product of value backing it, like for example, real estate. Okay. And I know I'm looking at who's on the call here. I know a lot of people are in real world asset tokenization projects and probably understand at least the fundamentals of it. But typically there, what happens is you get something that has value. Let's say there's a business or a property worth $10 million dollars, and you take that $10 million value and you turn it into, let's say, 10 million tokens with a value of $1 each. And then they can be exchanged and marketed and put out there. That's broadly what a real world asset tokenization concept looks like. This is an equity play. If you're a miner, you own a piece of the mine. Greg, I'll get to your question in one sec. So just flash forward. Let's just say a year, the mine sold out. Okay. There's only so many seats. It is finite. At some point, it's going to be sold. If you own one seat on the mine, somebody else wants it, it becomes supply demand. Okay. Now, I'm not saying you should buy a mine this morning and go sell it tomorrow, but I'm saying there is an equity position of owning shares of this mine that at some point might become marketable. Okay. So that's the idea. Right now, no shortage of mines. There's 70 million left or whatever, but they're going to sell it out. It's trending to be about next fall. Anyhow, Greg, you have a question.
Dr. Steve, thank you very much for hosting this. I appreciate you allowing us to, again, to get the information right from the source. Just kind of like not the same question as Vic, but can you just very slightly touch on like the proof of work concept and why there is actual value backing the coin, but besides the utility, but actual the hardware?
Well, you got a couple categories you could put that into, and this could actually be a really long answer, but one of them would be the physical mine itself, okay? Which I kind of just got done talking about. All right. The second thing, there's three or four parts to this answer, so I'm going to try to keep them relatively short. One part would be the physical mine, the fact that they have tractor trailers like the picture showed and things like that, sitting there with actual computers linked up to electricity that are putting this stuff out, continually. They build a block about every 3 minutes. Okay. They produce about 90,000 tokens a day, 85,000 tokens a day. Okay. The second thing would be transactional. All right. Second value point would be transactional. So I go in, I'm somewhere, I walk into a restaurant and I say, it bill's $80 or whatever, and I pay it in TXE, the Texit token. Now, of course, to do that, the restaurant would have to accept the Texit token, which is exactly one of the things that the company is building right now. They're building a community of locations that accept the token. There's a second sort of part B to that, which is big events. So the Zoom on Thursday night really addressed this. So, for example, they have an arrangement where there's going to be some big Renaissance fair in Texas. So like 250,000 people go to it over a couple weekends. And they're going to make it so that anybody, instead of going up to a booth and buying little tickets, and three tickets is a funnel cake and whatever, five tickets is a ride on the roller coaster, they could do it all with Texas Token. But not only with Texas Token, because they own the blockchain, they're also starting to roll out a layer two where they could create tokens specifically for this project. Okay. So you've got that as well. So now other things can run layer two on the Texas blockchain that produces value because to run it, you need the gas fee, which is the Texas token. Now, of course, you need to understand a little bit about layer twos work, maybe to completely digest that answer. The last piece of it, it is just is bigger expansion is the mine itself getting bigger and bigger and bigger, opening other mines eventually down the road, making connections where you're just going to see more and more of this transactional thing going on. But ultimately, that's what gives uh, this value. Hopefully that covered what you wanted, what you were asking.
Yep, it really does start to bridge the gap. I know Vic has a good question. I hope I didn't miss it, but maybe you'd be able to round out the Zoom with just a quick explanation of the holiday promo. Seems like a really, really good value.
Yeah, the
And
holiday promo is well, at least in terms of price, is the best deal of the whole year in terms of what you get for the least amount of cost. Um, so let me talk about the holiday promo. Normally speaking, so let's talk some numbers here, okay? One miner, full price, and there are ways to get it less than this, but let's just talk retail price for now, is 995 US dollars, okay? There are ways to get it for less than that, but I'm going to just put that aside for a second. If the holiday promo is this, someone decides they think they like this enough that they would get three miners, they would pay for three, they get a fourth one free. So you're basically getting four for the price of three. Where my calculator is, somebody can figure out what that is. I think it's about 700 each, maybe 730 each, something in that range. So now you're getting basically 33% more reward every single day for the same. Now, in addition to that, there's a reward that they're giving the person who shares the idea. In other words, the affiliate reseller also gets a free mine, which is worth the 995. So if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, listen, I love it. I want to get the 3+1 promo," then they get the four. Me as the referrer, I would get one mine to add to my stockpile as a bonus. That's basically it. Right now it goes to the 19th. There's been some rumblings that it might get extended to New Year's, but that's not happened yet. But that's it. Now, just to give you a parallel, when I joined, that was the deal. It was three, buy three, get one, buy six, get two, buy nine, get three. They stopped that at the end of April. Now, the promotion now normally is you have to buy five to get one and nine to get two. So, and by the way, you didn't ask this, but those of you who are in the company know one of the places you want to get here is what we call the nine pack, the 9+2 pack. If somebody comes in with a holiday promo, that counts as three. They would only need six more to get up to the nine. So they could use that to springboard themselves to that. And the advantage of that is that you potentially could triple your potential commission. Okay. You could triple your commission. We got somebody asking me something in the chat here, so let me pay attention to that for a second. Greg, anything else there?
no, thank you. I've been very impressed again just with the transparency. I know we've been following your guidance, your leadership, your sharing of this project for a number of months. It took me some time to decide to get involved, but man, have I been
Mhm.
impressed, thankful, and a lot of my friends just super, super easy. It's such a friendly crypto start for people, and I love it. So I'm appreciative. Thank you for supporting it, and yeah, look forward to seeing what's coming next.
Yeah, one of the beauties of this is the simplicity. I mean, I could have probably made this presentation shorter. I have a 9-minute version of it that leaves some detail out, but the goal here is to make people feel comfortable and to learn. And this one probably was 25 minutes. I didn't specifically time it, but this is not a 3-hour thing. This is not that complicated. This is not, real deep in that. The basic concept is pretty straight up. You got the opportunity to get the mine, and every day you get rewarded. And you could work out the economics, for yourself of what you feel is, good use of your value. No, I'll answer a question that's been asked. How do you break even? Okay, those of you who know me have heard me say this. Anytime you look at a business, right, or any kind of financial thing, you want to have a plan to break even, right? So if you spend X, at some point, you want to at least have enough value to withdraw X to get yourself whole. Okay. Now, that's going to fluctuate, but roughly speaking, depending on token price, with Texit, it's about 3.5 to 4 months. Okay. The higher the price, because the cost of the miner is fixed. If the Texas token is at $6, you're going to break even a lot more quickly than if the token's at $3 or $2 or whatever. But it's typically I would say if you want to plan, so to speak, I would figure it's 3.5 to 4 months. Okay. So, you're not taking that long. Now you can drastically reduce that if you want to get involved in the affiliate side because the commissions are really strong. Okay. I didn't get into the comp plan here almost at all. And I really didn't want to, but just trust me on this. I've had a lot of people in my team who've come in, gotten minors, shared a little bit, and been whole in 2 weeks. Okay. That's how strong the comp plan is. Somebody asked about compliance. I'm not sure where it is. Uh, they Texit did what a lot of companies are doing now, which is sort of getting pre-approved. So in other words, in like the 1920, 21 era, you had all these companies out there basically doing their thing. And then the regulatory people come in and say, well, you're selling securities without a license, or, you're doing something wrong. And bang, shut them down. Everybody lost their money. Or worse, the company just shut down. That was the end of it. What Texas did was because the owner has been in this space for a long time and knew a lot of people in the regulatory world and in the government, went to him and said, look, I got this idea. I'm going to run with it. Am I cool with this? I doubt that's how he worded it. That's my that's me telling the story, but I think you get the point.
They said
And
far out.
and they said, groovy, man. Yeah, let's go. But that's basically what he did. He kind of got pre-approved. Now, not only is there federal oversight, almost everybody, especially from the United States, has heard of the SEC and in some cases, some of the trouble they've caused companies. There's also a lot of state agencies. And Texas, turns out, has one of the most stringent, the Texas Securities Commission Board. It's TCSC or TSCS, I forget, but they're as tough as any other state in the country. So
SEC headquarters are there too.
and the SEC is based near Dallas, someplace. So um, they talk about this. Like I said, I don't want to overstate this, but the transparency is so strong here that they'll just talk about it. He'll the when they're doing these things, Bobby will say things like, I'd like people ask a question, well, I'd like to do that, but I got to make sure it's compliant. Or, I got to make sure that we're doing this the right way, which is his code for saying within compliance. So that's, look, honestly, we only know what we're told with this. I don't work for the compliance board. I don't work for the SEC. I just know what gets reported and what we can see. So, yeah. Look, Greg has a good testimony. I purchased my mine on a Wednesday. I made my money back by that Saturday. Well done,
Steve,
Greg.
Steve, I believe you missed a question. If you go up, it's more like Linda Mann Sims. I am so new. I don't even know how many. And a lot of people might fall into this category if they have a weak sponsor. I am so new. I don't even know how many tokens I have or where to find the information. I did get the copper coin and am more lost trying to read the booklet. Help me, please. Where can I help somebody? So,
All right. So,
can you
I
help?
don't want to turn this into a support
No, no,
situation.
no. But can you advise her
Yeah,
or
yeah. Okay. So, Linda, whoever referred this to you, that's their responsibility to help you. However, if they didn't, then reach out to me. I'll put my info in the chat in a second and I'll help you. Um, but if anybody ever needs help, okay, just broadly. So let me answer Linda's question a little bit more. The sequence is you buy a miner and then you can, uh, I don't know what word you want to use, oversee it through a dashboard that you can access through your phone or through a computer. In addition to that, Texit has an app that looks on that way. You can see it. It's hard on this screen. See that? Texit right there. Now, the app is really more so for looking at your token count and if you want to transact. So if you want to sell or purchase tokens, you need the app to do it. The web page, the dashboard has all the company statistics. I can share it if somebody wants to see it. All your personal statistics, all your commission record, all your token accumulation record, all that. What that coin you got, Linda, which looks like this, right? This is essentially a seed phrase. This is your 12-word secret phrase that links the computer dashboard to the phone wallet. Okay. So I got my computer kind of over here. I use this to link it to the phone app that looks like that. Okay. It takes literally 45 seconds to do, but like most things, every trick's easy once you know the secret. You don't know how to do it. So if you don't have anybody else to help you, I will, in fact, right now, put my phone number in the chat. There you go. Don't get any closer than that, and I'll help you. I'll take care of you. Okay. Um, that said, if you're in, or if you're not in, or you're just trying to decide if this is a smart move for you, I'd encourage you every Tuesday night, we do a Zoom for the team. Every Thursday night, I'm going to start. I've been doing a series of these every week. I'm going to put them on hold, given Christmas and New Year's and all that's coming up. Pick them up again in January. The reason I do these is it's educational, right? I guess I enjoy doing this, but it's really to help whoever shows up and help you if you're trying to build a team or you just want to learn more, bring your folks here. Okay. I'll make this recording available. People can use that as well. Um, I'll stop unless there's more questions by saying this. Number one, I appreciate everybody coming out. New members, old members, possible members. I hope everybody has a great, healthy, happy holiday season and all that. I got to tell you, the last couple of years, there's been so much volatility in this whole home-based digital business world. Okay. I'm looking at who's on the screen, and I know a lot of you. And we've been up and down and in and out and through the ringer with a lot of programs, right? And this Texit, when I first saw it, you know what my first knee-jerk reaction was? If I want to guess. Um, I don't need another deal. I got enough headaches. I am worried about this program opening up. I'm worried about this program paying. I'm worried about these people making sure they're not telling their lies or they're pulling the rugs. And I passed on it. And fortunately, that person called me back 3 days later and said, listen, maybe you're not looking for anything, but you got to come on to Zoom. It's in an hour. It was with the owner and the two top earners at that time. And I said, yeah, all right. I trust you. I know you're not going to steer me wrong. And it just made sense. And this has really been by far really the number one really pleasant surprise for 2025. There's other programs that are doing great and I like, but just for this year, if I compartmentalize it where we were in April, May, June, and some of the funk that people were in, waiting on stuff, this has really been a really, a really positive experience. And it's really, even though it's 6, 8 months, year old, it's still relatively new. There's a lot of upside, there's a lot of opportunity. I've been offered an opportunity to get involved in their leadership, which they call Rangers. I have to go to an orientation in Texas next month to do that. Um, the reason I'm doing it, there's some advantage to it. But really it's because I want to be more knowledgeable to help the team. I'll learn stuff faster. I'll learn it sooner. I'll have direct pipelines to where we get answers. So that's my mindset. The better everybody here does, better the team does, better everybody does, the better I do as well. So that's the goal. So if there are no more questions, by the way, Linda, if you're still on, I think you are. Um, I'm going to shut this down in a few seconds. If you want to wait about 5 minutes and call me, I'll help you. But what we do have to do, you're going to have to get on a Zoom and we're going to have to share a screen. Okay. So hopefully your tech geniuses can handle that. Well, I deal with a lot of people, and sometimes it takes me 20 minutes to tell them how to share a Zoom screen, and we would have been done fixing this stuff 18 minutes sooner. Yeah.
Steve, I have a request. Could you
Yes.
put that 9-minute version of the talk that you did in the chat or email it to me? Because I have some people I want to share it to.
All right, hang on,
I'm
hang on.
I'm
All
in. I'm
right,
going to do this. The plan that you talked about earlier. It's going to happen next week. We'll make it go.
all right, hang on, hang on. There we go. See? Public commitment. All right, hang on. I got to find the video here. All right. All right. If you look in the chat, this is a video I made, and it's the last one there, the YouTube one. That's me basically doing a shorter version of this presentation. You'll recognize the slides. It's the same slide deck, a little bit less. I call it Texit in 10 because it's always less than 10 minutes. So if your goal is to share this, okay? And look, it's not like every single person you talk to is going to suddenly pull out their wallet and say, "Where do I sign up?" Right? This is a business. There's stuff you got to handle, right? Um, but I'm telling you, you want to do it the hard way, try to do it yourself. Okay? You want to give yourself a headache, you want to get yourself frustrated, try doing it yourself with no other support. You want to make your life easier? Use the system that our team and the company is using. Okay? There are so many tools for this business. Okay? And what you're seeing, my one video is a small piece of it. There's a few people offline that have built tremendous funnels that you can use, lead generation funnels. Okay? I mean, that's just one thing. All the corporate materials. There's YouTube channels with hundreds of videos on them. There's a huge amount of resource here. I'm not going to list it all right this second. But to end it here, again, appreciate everybody coming out. If you have any questions, either reach out to the person that invited you to come on, or reach out to me. My phone number is still in the chat somewhere, and we'll see what you want to do. Okay. All right. Let me stop the recording.